As human beings, we live in two worlds simultaneously, the outer world and the inner world. The outer world is extended all around us. We are embedded in this whole system of cause and effect, this whole world governed by natural laws that we have no effect over. And by and large, things happen to us, or things happen out in the world to which we need to adjust. And this coronavirus outbreak is one of those things. It's not our fault. There's not much we can do about it. We can't make it go away, at least not yet. But we can have some influence on how we relate to it. And that's where the inner world comes in. What mindfulness does is give us access to the inner world. Each one of us is responding to the outer world in our own unique way. Each one of us is a very individual, very specific, subjective node of conscious awareness. And each one of us, in our own way, are taking in information from the world, processing it according to certain internal habits of mind and behavior, and then responding, acting in some way. And how we do this is something that we do have some influence over. We can't control ourselves completely, of course, but we can have some influence on how we respond. In other words, if what happens in the outside world has an impact on us internally that we have absolutely no control over, then we are entirely driven by events. If terrifying things happen, then we're driven by fear, and so forth. But with mindfulness practice, we actually learn to mediate the interface between the outer and the inner worlds. We learn to become more familiar, more knowledgeable about our own internal patterns of response and behavior and interpretation. And it turns out that we can learn to respond to that outside world in more or less skillful ways. Mindfulness practice gives us a very important tool for accessing the inner life to begin with, understanding how it operates, each individually and uniquely, and then it empowers us through that knowledge to respond in different ways. So in other words, by getting to know ourselves very well and learning how to influence how we respond to the world, we can mitigate a great deal how much we are the victim of what happens to us. We gain, in other words, some important freedom, some leverage over responding consciously and intelligently and skillfully to what's going on around us, instead of being simply triggered by events and driven by inevitable emotional responses. So let's explore how to go about doing this, shall we?